G'day folks, it's Laura here, and today I'm going to do a flip cup pour. My colours include iridescent violet blue, blue violet, opaque cobalt blue hue, iridescent gold, Naples yellow hue, opaque primary yellow, and titanium white. Now, I only want a very small trace of this violet blue colour, so I'll only use a very small amount of the paint. And for this very dark blue violet, I'm also only going to use a fairly small amount of paint, just so it doesn't overwhelm the painting. So I'm using some trial pouring mediums at the moment. I'm trialing some new media because the Taubman's neutral base wall paint that I've been using for my standard pouring medium, the company actually changed the formula a little bit and they made it more opaque. And so what I'm trying to do with these new trial pouring mediums is actually reduce the amount of this neutral base that I need to use. And in place of it, I'm actually using some of the Atelier's pouring medium. Now, this is a proprietary pouring medium, so it is a bit more expensive, and so that's why I'm only limiting it to a small amount in replacement. So we'll see how this new trial medium goes today. It should be just a little bit clearer, hopefully, and a little bit thicker. Now I've added only a very small amount of pouring medium with this thicker Pebeo paint because it's very difficult to mix them up if there's a lot of liquid pouring medium with only a small amount of the very viscous paint. So if I mix this up first very well and then add more pouring medium, it'll mix better. Okay, now I'm just going to add a little bit more of this pouring medium to the Pebeo paints. It's time to layer the cup now, and I've changed the order of my colors just a little bit because having the yellows and the blues here, although they're not complements, if they mix, of course, they're going to create a green kind of color, and I would like to try and avoid that as much as possible. So I've added the white and the gold in here to hopefully create a bit of an isolation buffer between these two sets of colors. Now for my layering today, I am going to use my standard cell activator. I'll link to a video on how to make this if you're interested. And I'm going to start by layering some cell activator on the bottom and the sides of the cup. I'm just going to drop some of this gold from a little bit of a height to allow it to mix in the dirty cup kind of form. Now I've already prepared my canvas. This is the back of my canvas. I've added painter's tape as well as giant push pins. So it's time to flip the cup now. Wow, interesting. Definitely getting some quite interesting pattern and a lot of lacing in there. So I'll just get the rest of the paint out of the cup, spread it around the edges and the corners, possibly pull some of that paint from the baseboard that I spilt all over it. Now this paint is, and this pouring medium is a little bit thicker than I have been using in the past, and so I'm finding that it's not spreading quite so well. I'll just pop the bubbles with my heat gun. So I've definitely got some very bold kind of colour combinations here, which is very interesting. I think the paint needs to be spread out just a little tiny bit. This is going to be a little difficult given how thick the paint is. Okay, I might spin it out from there. Okay, so I am having trouble getting these two corners at the moment, and what I'm going to do is pull some paint off the baseboard and stick it on the sides there just to help it slide a little bit better. Okay, just another spin. Okay, and this time I think I might put the canvas a little bit off center. Just going to cover the corners with some excess paint. And pull the paint off from underneath the canvas that's dripping down. Wow, so this is an interesting piece. I have a beautiful yellow stripe going through the center here, surrounded by very dark, deep blue kind of colors, which is just lovely. I've got lacing throughout the whole thing. I've got a tiny trace of that violet kind of iridescent color here, as well as just underneath emerging here. These patterns down in this section are really interesting. They're not your typical lacing. So I've got some cells or bubbles coming up, and I've got other kind of lacing elements in there, but it's as though there have been multiple layers of lacing. So some really interesting, very, very subtle kind of patterns in this section down here. And then at the bottom, at the top here, we have some absolutely stunning lacing happening, and kind of as though it's a wave crashing at the top here, which is just beautiful. So yeah, really pleased with this one. And I think that's all I needed to do for now. So thanks everyone very much for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments.